Greetings from the Eccentric Man, and today, as promised, is a little review of the Victory at Sea Battle for the Pacific new game and rules from Warlord Games. It's the World War II naval action, and this is the store demo game from Lost Ark Games. We were going to put on a demo for the launch, but unfortunately the coronavirus lockdown meant that we didn't get to go. Fortunately, I put in a little order with Lost Ark for some paints just before they stopped trading, and the courier, which was John's daughter, cycled up from the town to where I live and delivered the paints, but also delivered this box, which the demo copy, and said that I could do a demo copy and go through the pack and have a look at what we've got. So I'm assuming that this is most likely going to be what the contents of the main box will be. So let's have a little look of what we get. So first off, we've got the rule book, and we'll have a look at that in a little bit more detail. And then we've got a counters card of turn-in arcs, speeds, speed counter, rearmament, engine damage, bridge hits, all things like that. Markers to go on the ship cards, and smoke for the ships that come out behind them. So yeah, a marker card. So that's looking good. I haven't punched any of those out yet. And you get two mats, or is it two mats? No, one mat, but printed either side. So, oh, that looks quite a big mat. Two colours, one for the Mediterranean. Oh. Ow. One for the Mediterranean and one for the colder climes and the darker weather. Yeah, so that comes in your starter pack in the box. So we've got our markers, our book, and the sea. Dice, well, we're using D6s and D10s. So that's part of the game. We get ship cards, which is important. Each class of ship has a detail card. If you're familiar with Cruel Seas and Black Seas, you can see that your cards are much similar, and you get a little marker system to slide along your ships. So we've got the Mogami-class heavy cruisers, and we do have, let's have a little look in the packs. Well, we'll have a closer look at them. Is two Mogami class, and we have the Mogami and we have the Kumano. So we've got those. We've then got for the US let's get my cards. The Northampton class heavy cruiser, we've got two of those. And they come with their assorted little bits to stick on and glue in. And then we get some destroyers. as well. There must be yeah, there it is. Yeah. I'll have to dig through and see, because, oh yeah, there it is. Fletcher-class Destroyer. Fletcher-class Destroyer. Fubuki-class Destroyer. And Fubuki-class Destroyer. And the little bits that'll stick on them. So that really looks about your lot. So, yeah, that's not bad assortment. I think people are going to be, whether it's going to be love or hate for the ships on their sea bases, I'll paint these up and see what they come out like. And yeah, it could be love or hate, much like Marmite. You either like them or you hate them. We'll see what they're like when they paint up. That could change them significantly. My only sort of criticism to date is these. And I really dislike these little cardboard marker sliders. And I think it was one of the feedback that they had right from the beginning, that they're not good. But they've been in the Cruel Seas, which was the first one that came out, and then they repeated them in Black Seas, and then they've repeated them in Victory of the Pacific. Yeah, it's nice and easy, but it would have been much nicer if they'd been done in plastic. Yeah. So yeah, just a minor irk of mine for it. But yeah, looking good. Let's have a closer little look at the ships themselves and have a closer look at the cards.
Let's have a look then at the ships. So the Japanese have 2 Mogami-class cruisers. Hoping that's how you sort of pronounce it. So they are, I think it's a type of resin plastic. The detail on it is quite nice. You've got where the gun turrets are going to go. You've got your small guns and your superstructure. So the detail's quite nice. We'll need a bit of cleaning up on the front. And on the back is okay, but the edges just are tidying up. That won't take too much. Front's a little bit more irksome. It's a bit thicker, but we'll have to be careful with the knife and a bit of sandpaper or something like that to do that. So you get your little turrets and derricks and things, or cranes. So they'll stick on. I think I'll be gluing them on permanently, otherwise they'll just get lost. So yeah, they're your additional bits that you can stick on to your ship. It tells you on the other side of the ship that this one is the Mogami in 1939. I'll just put that to the side up there, and then we'll bring in the other, which is the Kumano, 1944. So a bit later on in the war. And it gives you then the guns specific to that one, which look much the same really to this one. Not that there's much difference in those. One thing I have noticed is that they're not flat. They're a bit warped. So aficionados are probably going to not want them to be warped, and getting them to lie flat is going to be interesting. It may work with hot water. I haven't tried it. And you don't want to flex it to see what it looks like straight or horizontal, because John did try it and it snapped. So I think it's going to have to be hot water to get them to be able to be placed down flat, and then hopefully when it cools, it will cool and stay flat. So it might not. We'll have a try with the other one. So we'll see how that goes. But the little word of warning: don't bend them, because they will snap. So the ships themselves are looking nice. They do look nice. And once they're painted up with the guns on them, they should be even better. So that's our plan for today, is to get at least one of the cruisers and a destroyer painted up. So what else do you get? You get the ship cards, and your 0 to 9 is the hull damage. How much sort of strength the ship has before it is destroyed, hull points. So at the top you can see there it starts off at 30. The hull for the Mogami is 30. You'll see at the top there that there's a 30 and a 10. The 30 is the main hull points, and once you get down to 0, the ship is destroyed. However, when it gets down to 10, it's crippled, and with crippled, different rules come into play for the ship. You can see that it's got its guns marked up, and we've got turret A, turret B, turret Q, X, Y, and it tells you what sort of guns they are. So it gives them. It then tells you what point blank range is, what short range is, what long range is, and what extreme range is. And you can see extreme range here is 32 inches, but line of sight and visibility is limited to 30 inches in this game. But there are rules for shooting out of sight, which is, they classify the 30-inch range as over the horizon. So there are rules for shooting over the horizon. You can see there that you've got your attack dice number, which it shows you 2, armor piercing, nothing really armor piercing on those, which would give you a benefit to hitting, benefit to damaging, sorry. And then you've got your damage dice. So for each damage, then you'll roll a dice for the guns hits. So we'll have a little look at more detail in the rules in another video. It also fires torpedoes, and it gives you the details for your torpedoes as well. Slow loading means that you can probably only fire them once. But we'll have a little go. I have had a read of the book, but I'm going to have another read to go through it and look in more detail at the rules. So, yep, you get aircraft, and you've got 3 on these. So, yeah, armour 3+, flank speed 7 inches. That is the top speed of your ship, 7 inches in a turn. So, yeah, so that's the Mogami class. Let's have a look at the US and at the Northampton class heavy cruisers. So in they come, a bit smaller in size. You've got your bits and pieces for the superstructure and the guns. Oh, sorry. Yep. Superstructure and the guns. Getting a bit dark in here. It's not very nice outside. So, yeah. And again, you get the class on one side, so Northampton class cruiser, and on the other, you get what ship it is. So you've got the USS Chicago for this one, and of course for the other one, the USS Northampton. Again, the same sort of process on the card, but obviously being a US cruiser, it doesn't get torpedoes. So not as heavy as the Mogami class. So these are only hull 23 points and 7 for critical. So a little bit down on the size in comparison. 4 aircraft. Armoured 2+, so not quite as heavily armoured as the Mogami. And you've got your turrets A, B and X. So not quite as many guns. What's interesting on the back of the card is it gives you the whole history of the ship. So from when it was laid down, refits, and depending on what ship you want to use, you can change the stats for that ship. So that's a lot of research and detail gone in. So yeah, interesting. And that's for all ships. So let's have a little look at the destroyers. So we'll go for the Fletcher-class first. Once again, you get your card, ship card. Wow, hulls 6 points, which is interesting. Yes. Destroyers at close range cannot be targeted by ship's main guns unless they're light guns. Yeah. Interesting. Because your destroyer needs to get in close, otherwise it's a bit of a sitting duck if it's far out. It doesn't have very many hull points, as you can see. Yep, so it gives you the information, and again, once on the back, it tells you about refits. The actual ships themselves are getting a bit smaller. So there's your destroyer, Fletcher-class Destroyer, and it then gives you the names of which ones. So, no, it doesn't on these, it just tells you Fletcher-class Destroyer. There you go. So little destroyers, and they've got their bit of superstructure to add on, but not very much of a superstructure. And then finally off for the Japanese, the Fubukis. Well, I think probably that's why they've got a base to them, is they're going to be a little bit fiddly to pick up. But there you go, the Fubuki-class Destroyer. And again, cards as well. So all the details are there, ships are there. So for me, my next step up is reading the rules again and having a paint of some of the ships to get them ready for the table. So I hope you enjoyed the little look through of the starter pack, and I say I'll start to go through in more detail some of the rules and looking at the ships and seeing how some of the mechanics of the game work. So thanks very much for watching. Until the next time, take care, keep safe, stay at home. You don't want to get yourself ill. Those, as I say, those working in the emergency services, thanks very much for all the hard work that you're doing and keeping us safe and keeping us alive. And thoughts to anyone who has lost people from the virus. Sadly, there's people from the voluntary charity that I work for have died, but it's going to be everyone, I think, touched by this virus. So thank you very much for watching. Keep safe, and we'll catch you on the next one. Those videos, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, hit the notification bell so that you know when the next video is up, and leave a comment and I'll respond to it. So thanks very much for watching.